understand partisan politics in the United States is that the two major parties have competing visions for the country. What are those visions? And there are, of course, big differences between those visions. In my view, the Republican Party, at its core, and this is true of the right in general, sees the United States as a country for white Christian people, primarily. With everyone else, they can be citizens, but it's not their country, our country, and where individualism is elevated to some kind of a sacrament. Whereas people on the left, the Democrats, the rest of us, see this country as a pluralist country, where everyone is treated equally, and as one where we may not use these words, but more on a social democratic model, where the government helps those people who fall onto bad times, who are born into poverty, who need an opportunity in life. Rarely does this come into such stark contrast as what happened with the migrants who Ron DeSantis flew from Texas, a state where he has no office and no power whatsoever, to Massachusetts, by the way, another state where he has no office or power whatsoever. It's important to remember that we use these terms migrants, but these are people like you and me, people with families, people with worries, people with hopes, people with concerns, people who may not know why they're getting on a plane or where they're going. But for Ron DeSantis, they were props. They were things that he could use to help gin up his fundraising and maybe help him catch up a few points with Donald Trump in the race for the Republican nomination for 2024. And when they arrived in Martha's Vineyard, the people there who are ridiculed as liberals, and they certainly are affluent, whether or not they're liberals, they saw people and they helped them. They gave them services. They made sure they had a place to stay for the night. They gave them food and things like that. This is a key difference. To Ron DeSantis, people who aren't white, who don't speak English, ultimately are things. They're not treated as people. He doesn't view them as people. And it's not just DeSantis, that's the whole Republican Party. And I know there is a Latino population that votes Republican. But for Ron DeSantis, my sense is at the end of the day, he's happy about that, but he sees those as votes, not as people. And this is a massive difference between the two parties and reveals the deeply unhumanitarian approach to life that Ron DeSantis has, the deep disrespect he has essentially for human life.